to Sweetheart Before I Say I Do. My name is Marissa and I am your host. I am so excited to have Power Couple Coaching, the coaches, Shay and Elena. They are taking center stage and owning it with me tonight. Welcome, welcome, welcome to be in the
Hi.
house with me. I am so excited to have you guys. We always talk about power couples. We talk about them and we talk about them from, I think, in regards to all their success and all the glamour that comes with being a power couple. And I want to just shoot out the question to you guys tonight is what made you decide to go into power couple coaching? What was it? We here on Sweetheart Before I Say I Do talk about the love relationship and all the dynamics that go into it. And it's our passion to help couples to heal, people to heal in their love relationship, and even with themselves. So, what encouraged you guys to go into power couple coaching?
Well, I think before we even talk about the why, I think even in terms of like what do we actually mean by power couple, right? So like you were talking about, so many times it's about the huge success, the fame, and all the status, right? But I think the way that we look at it we define it in a different way. So,
Yep.
Mia Moore, do you want to kind of explain a little bit, and then I can add?
Yes. Well, for us, a power couple have a very strong understanding, communication, and we
Mhm.
know each other, like our strengths are our good points, and then make a balance so we can have a better understanding. That is the most important thing, I think. Yes.
Yeah, I think that is an excellent response. It's almost like a high performance team, correct? When you look at a
Yes.
high performance team, they know each other intimately. They have group think. They think alike. They're strategizing together. I think that that's so important. And so, Shay, you talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. So one of the things that Late and I talked about is that this relationship cannot just be about her or just about me. And it can't
Mhm.
even just be about our relationship. It has to be bigger than our relationship. And so for me, a power couple doesn't think just about their own personal gain, their own personal success, but they're really thinking in terms of like the universe brought us together for a reason. And we believe
Mm.
that the reason for that is to co create something in this world that is unique to our combined selves. And I think that is a huge piece because that means that anyone can enter into that thought process of not just about who I am, but who are we? Who are we being in this world? And from that being, what do we do? And what do we do together?
That is incredible. I mean, when you think about it on those terms, because we often talk about on the show, we really go into the fact that couples when they come together, they don't realize that it's not just about them. It's about the people that love them, the people that they're impacted by. It's also about community because when couples come together, they dwell together. They're a part of a community. They can give back to the community. So you're looking at it from the perspective of what were you meant to do, not just individually, but what were you meant to do as a couple, and how do you get it done? That is incredible.
That's right. So when you think about a
That
seed in
is incredible.
thank you. When you think about a seed in soil that grows in an ecosystem, that nurturing tree, which is made up of both the seed and the soil, literally provides for all life around it. So it's this interdependence that you see that your own growth is in contribution to others, which I believe is the formula for fulfillment and happiness, right? Growth and contribution. And when you can start thinking about that, then you don't become so myopic, and your all your happiness and everything does not just come from each other. It comes from the togetherness in the world.
That is so powerful. Oh my God. I couldn't say this any better because my argument is always, do you understand that when you two are feuding, when you guys are so busy feuding, you are missing out. You are missing out big time on how you can make a positive, lasting impact on the world around you. not only individually, but to collectively. And then when you have the offspring, what you can do with them to make an impact, and
Yes.
how together you can strengthen your children, to really align with their purpose and align with their design and go out and do great things. Today, I was watching, and I forget the title of the name, young lady Jessica, a couple of years ago, maybe about 10 or 15 years ago. She actually, at the age of 16, she sailed around the world at the age of, from out of Australia. This young lady is a true story. I just posted it on my page, but it took parents seeing the bigger picture. You understand? I mean, she just opened the door to say, why can't anybody do whatever it is they want to do? And that's
Yeah.
what we can do when we come together. When we come
Yes.
together, and it's not this small-minded, oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna get it, or you don't get me, you don't get, we could get each other. So what inspired you to create a couples coaching program?
Yeah. Mia Moore, do you want to take this first?
Yes. Well, we have been passing. Sorry for my English first and anything. We had passed through a lot of situations, and I think we learn from a lot, and we want to help. We want to help other people with our experience because that is very important, and we don't want to other couples get through the same things and situations. That is why we want to help. We want to, when we see couples, we see people need help. Sometimes you are in a situation you never get the help you needed, and you just want to help them to not pass through the same situations.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, because a lot of couples need help, and they need help that's not the help that's already out there. They need
Yeah.
this kind of, if they have this level of enlightenment, oh my God.
Sometimes, yes, sometimes they don't have the support even from the family. Sometimes they are alone there. I was in a marriage when I no have like no help or support from other family. Like we was alone, and now when what with the things we know today, I will tell you, if I learned this before or if I knew this before, that things that situation can be completely different. Because if someone is going to help you and to guide you, you can make it grow. You can have it like we can say we can do this.
Hmm.
I can help you. We can do this together,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Family support is critical too. Family support is critical because they nurture the couple, they help reinforce, they hold the couple accountable. When it's healthy, when it's the support is healthy, um, they can save the marriage. That, like, just having people around to remind you of why this person is important, why you should respect them, why you should love them, just holding them accountable to the relationship and to the commitment of the relationship. And so, why is understanding? Because I know in your coaching program, I know you guys go in deep. I could just tell just by, and I know Shay and I had a long conversation back
We
and
sure
forth
did.
through Messenger. And I want to just tell you, audience, that Shay is in California, Aleda is in Costa Rica. So we are really doing this global thing, really, 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 and international nationalities are in the
That's right.
house. And the issue in couples is across the board. Like, problems are across the board. They're not to any particular group
Right.
at any given moment. It's across the board. And so, why is understanding your partner's strength? And I really like this because you go into superpowers, and that's our gift.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, why is understanding your partner's strengths like bringing superpowers into the relationship?
Well, I can tell you something. Sometimes you can be with your partner in the same room, in the same place, in the same space, and think this is a person strange, completely different than you think they are. And sometimes they are far, but if you have the understand you have, you feel like you are together, you have a relationship, even you are not in the same space.
Oh yes.
And that
Oh
is
yes.
so hard and difficult because a lot of couples, they they live together in the same space, so they have years living together. I can tell you 20 years. And sometimes they don't even know who they're living with, right?
Mm.
And sometimes you just find the right person, you find the understanding, the feelings, the emotion, the passion there. And it's like you know each other for years, for a long time. And that is the feeling and the emotion you want to find in a couple, right? In the partnership.
Yes, yes, yes. You know, and that happens when the two already have embraced themselves. When the
Yes.
two have
Yes.
individually, independently embraced themselves, they show up in the relationship authentic. When
Yes.
they have their own issues and they're not dealing or growing in their issues and trying to do, you know, across my platform is always, and my ideology and methodology is, self-awareness should, it doesn't always, lead you to self-development.
Yes.
Self-development should lead you to self-mastery, not being perfect but knowing thyself,
Yes.
and knowing how to regulate, how to evaluate, how to assess and address so that you can move on. So, in relation, people are running around here, all over the world, running around here, and they don't want to deal with themselves. And
Yes.
so they
Yes.
come into relationships not dealing with themselves. And so now they're with somebody that they don't want to be with, but they just dwelling in the house together. And everybody's afraid to be alone. So they just stay together, right? They stay
That's
together and they
right.
just not. And
Yeah.
that is not fulfilling. And
Right.
then they're wondering why they're depressed. They're wondering why they feel overwhelmed, anxiety, hopelessness, unfulfillment. Um, it all comes from not addressing themselves.
That's
And
right.
so, share a little bit, Shay, on
Yeah.
your response to
So
that.
I have a phoenix tattoo, a singular phoenix tattoo on one of my shoulders, and I believe the phoenix is a perfect illustration of metamorphosis or transformation, right? So when we talk about personal development, it's understanding that we all go through moments of the ash state, and we all go through this time of rebirth, and it is not an easy procedure to go through that cycle because we go through that cycle multiple times in our lives. And I think for those of us, myself included, who's gone through a divorce, we know how it feels to be in that space where everything feels like it's just falling apart. And there's an opportunity for, instead of post-traumatic stress, is to change that into post-traumatic growth. So on my other shoulder, I actually have two phoenixes facing one another. So when you think about a phoenix, a firebird flaps its wings. And we know that when a bird flaps its wings, it naturally creates air current. So when two firebirds are facing each other, two phoenix birds are facing each other and flapping their wings, it naturally fans into flame the other's essence. It just
Mm.
naturally does it. So I believe that part of it is we all have this natural glow that comes from divinity. Understanding that, which you called know thyself, I believe that know thyself and know thy higher self are linked. And sometimes it's hard for us to see our higher selves without first seeing what has been given to us, what has been bestowed onto us. So we have a method of assessing what are your natural gifts. And by understanding those gifts, which are your superpowers, you are then able to articulate to the other person where when you need them. So I was working on a project I was stuck for a month on, and I literally said to Aleda, I need these two power dynamics within you. I need your strategic, I need your restorative, I need your developer to show up right now because my maximizer is procrastinating. So this is
Wow.
where we can actually use language, common language, to identify
Mm.
pieces within each other. And we can also have compassion and say, this is where my kryptonite is coming in because even our superpowers have weaknesses, right? They have where there sometimes can be overused or underdeveloped. And so we actually use that terminology with each other. So that is a totally different way to communicate, because typically those can be actually triggers.
Oh,
But
yes.
right? But using those opportunities to be able to get curious and to wonder, that is a total game changer.
Yes, yes. And when I do a lot of self-development, I use the SWOT. I say, use the SWOT analysis so that you know what your strengths, your weaknesses are, your opportunities and threats, and then make your threats opportunities.
Yes.
Turn that. Make look at your weaknesses, and don't be afraid to say their weak areas, because people say, I don't like to say weak. Whatever. It's how you own the words. So weaknesses, turn them into strengths. But if you don't take the time to own it, that's what own it is all about. If you don't take the time to own the good, the bad, the ugly, and indifferent, you don't take the time to actually change and transform it. Another thing that you said about higher self, folks have got to open themselves up to believe, not in arrogance, but you are great. You are wonderful. You have to say that to yourself so that you can show up, owning it. Like, show up really, really to enjoy your life and not be threatened by everything that comes along. There is nothing wrong with saying, I am great. I am great. I am great.
Yes.
And
it's interesting because there's actually a saying in the Spider-Man comics and the movies, with great power comes great responsibility. Yep. And I believe that when we have great power, whatever that power is, there is great responsibility. There's great opportunity. And if 1 + 1 = 10, because of the synergy between the two, then how much brighter can then we shine collectively?
I don't think the audience really knows. I mean, what is being, a half hour is not enough time to even, honey, I'm just sitting here saying, what? Now, I know I got some questions to ask you, but do you train other people how to do this coaching?
Oh, how to do the coaching? Well, our coaching is a little bit different in the fact that we actually, because I'm an educator by trade, so I actually not only just coach you, but I help you to coach each other. So in other words, if I teach you how to stress manage, I teach you how to use that with your partner. Do you see how there's a different dynamic there?
Yes,
That's one of the reasons why after, I started coaching in 2014, and I noticed the fact that when one individual in a partnership grows, sometimes there's an issue, and the issue is that they outgrow the other person and they become unequally yoked because one person. This is why, for it to be in tandem, there's accountability, there's honoring, there's celebrating, and you continue the momentum. That's one of the reasons why power coaching is so important. That's why it's important, because we grow in community. We learn in partnership. We learn with other people. If we ever forget that all we do is touch our belly button, and we know that we began in connection. Literally, we had an umbilical cord that fed us, that comforted us in this amniotic fluid. In the same way, when we're with a partner, we have to remember that. You cannot tell the color of your own eyes without seeing a reflection of it. There are certain things that we just cannot see without another person's point of view.
Yeah. That is so good. That's so good. I mean, Aleda, did you want to chime in? Did you want to say anything?
Yes. You have
I know you did.
You have to show up and help other people. You don't have a superpower for casuality, right? You have for a reason. Everything happened to us happened for a reason. If we have this, is to share and spread out and have other people to come into the light.
Yes, beautiful. Help all the people come. They need it. And that's, you know what? Just like you said earlier, to whom much is given, much is required. It's like, and not to get all biblical, but God said when you were babies, I fed you milk, but now it's time you got to chew on some meat. And we are to, once we get that self-actualization, because remember, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, one of the things that he mentions is that when someone comes into self-actualization, it feels so good to them that they have to go back to get others so that they can get to know what this feels like. That's what Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's what he said. And so many people look at self-actualization as self-perfection, but it's not that. It's coming into knowing all of who you are and being cool with that. That's what Maslow's hierarchy of needs is. And so that's what it is about. That's what compels us. It's the peace of mind that we feel. It's the gratitude that we feel. Even in the midst of things not looking great or things looking troublesome, we still have a peace of mind because we know this too shall pass,
Yes.
And we look at the cup, like I said to you before, we look at the cup half full of provision, full of possibility, full of hope. And that's the difference. And what I really like and what I'm doing when I look down is I take notes. So I got my pen, I take notes. So you said that you teach them how to coach each other. And that is so important because what you do is you teach them how to fish. You don't just put the fish on the plate.
Yes.
You teach them how to continue to grow, continue to build by training them on how to help each other.
Yes.
I think that growth
that is very different than traditional coaching programs. That is
Yeah.
not the way that coaching programs usually are designed.
It's like if you have a big light and you can share with people and with the world, they will follow the light because you want to show them the light.
Yeah.
Right?
And people want a peace of mind. And everything else, they want to have a peace of mind. They want to feel appreciated and loved and accepted, and accepted. So what's your coaching program look like?
I'll take this one. So our coaching program actually has 6 areas. And the foundation is strengths. And strengths means know thyself. Know who are you? What are your I ams? What are your loves, your hates, your needs, your wants, and all of those types of things, and how you contribute to the world. That is the foundation. It is how the divine has co-created you in the spectrum of light, right? In the spectrum of light, we have all these hues, these shades. That's the foundation. After that, as a couple, so that's super strengths. The next one would be super sight. And sight deals with vision. Where are you going? And those are going to be based off your values. A lot of times people will do values for themselves, but what are the values that come from the couple? And what are the common shared vision? So there's super strengths, and then we have super sight. After that, we have the super stress-free. And super stress-free deals with the energy that's trapped in your body. So we actually use emotional freedom technique, tapping, to tap out that energy that is stuck in your body. And we'll teach you to do that for each other, including what's called surrogate tapping. And surrogate tapping is when you literally can do that for the other person when they feel like they can't even tap on themselves.
Wow.
This is
I've done tapping. Tapping is very good.
Super powerful. So then after that, we have our super set, meaning our mindset. Because oftentimes we'll have a thought that actually keeps us stuck. And I wrote a book called The Happy Mindset. And in the happy mindset, it deals with, when is your mind? Is your mind stuck in the past? Is it stuck in the future? Is it stuck in the present? And where is it in relation to your ego? Because if you are standing in your power, but you do not allow surrender and allowance.
That is so good. Oh my God, that is so good. Because people are stuck in their past. If you are really listening to them, they are stuck there. And all they talk about is their past. And you said something that was also critically important too, is about ego. It's ego and past. And when you work with enough people, you begin to see when they're operating in ego and pride, and when they're operating in you can even see them when they're juvenile, when they're full grown adults with juvenile tendencies. And so this is Shay,
So,
you
that's
guys,
common. So that's
you know
common
you got
language.
to wait a minute. You know you got to come back because this
Thank
is
you.
just so up here.
Thank you. So
What you're talking about is
yeah,
so up here, and what's beautiful about what you're sharing is that even though it's up here as far as impact.
yes, yes,
Understanding it and grasping it, it is right here. It
exactly.
is
So we have our
for those people who want it. You're speaking English to them.
yes,
You're
yes.
speaking English to them.
And
This is so
because I'm
powerful.
an educator, I can teach you how to do that. So we have super strengths, we have super sight, right? Our vision. We have our super stress free, and then we have our super set, meaning our mindset. And on top of that, we have our super spirit, and that is our intuition. It's trusting in our be able to access our higher wisdom, our inner wisdom. So that's really important because once you have an idea of what your strengths are and you can actually know what your vision is, know how to deal with the emotions of your body, and then to deal with your mindset, you will now have cleared away and be able to hear when the divine is speaking to you. And then to cap that off, we have human or super sexuality. And super sexuality is laid on top of spirituality. Because when your spirit is connected, because we believe that human sexuality and spirituality go hand in hand. Literally in your brain, the reason why when people are in bed and they say things like, oh God, is because the God part of your consciousness and your sexual orgasms are next door.
Let me tell you something. You better preach that thing because people pervert and they put a taboo on sex. Like God didn't invent it. God
Exactly.
created it. So
Exactly.
why are you acting and we mess up our young people. We mess
Yes.
our young
Yes.
people up. You don't
Yes.
have to worry about abortion or anything like that if you teach young people what sex is really all about. If you teach them instead of being all, hokey pokey and that's being grown and that's being fresh. No, it's not. Teach
Yes.
them how beautiful the sexual experience is.
Yes,
And God should be all up in the middle of that because He created it.
it's like you take your partner from your hand and say, okay, let's get out of the past, come to the present, let's go to the future, and let's learn whatever we have to learn, and let's grow together. That is very
Yes.
important. Growing together in every single aspect of your life is very important. So you pull out your partner from the past, bring the present, let's go to the future.
And let's go to the bedroom too, right? In
Come on, let's get busy. That's what I'm talking about.
exactly. So this is where it's holistic. It is holistic when you're dealing
Yes.
with how you are designed and dealing with what is your inspirational future. How do you deal with your emotions and your thoughts? And how do you do this when you're connected to spirit? Your sex life, because it's integrated. You are literally giving your whole self to
Yes.
the person.
Yes. And that's it. And you nailed it because it is about, and it happens before it gets to the bedroom. So when you are appreciated and you know you're appreciated, this is not, again, talking about perfection. This is about appreciation, value, celebration, right? It's about communicating,
Yes.
having communications, just like you said, surrogate, where if you can't do it, if I can't rub myself, you rub me. That's care. Nurturing and being there is vulnerability. When
Yes.
you can have all of that naturally without ego, right? You get rid of ego. When you have that sexual experience is off the chain. It's off the chain. The thing you have to do is sustainability. It has to be sustained by consistently checking in and making
Yes.
sure you are loving each other, nurturing the relationship, making it a priority.
Yes.
I mean, this is Shay. Y'all gotta come back because you gotta come back. You gotta come back because there's so much that we have to tap into, and there's so much that we have to connect with offline. Because I really want to dig in deep to that because when I share with people and I say to them, you got to know what makes you tick, and ticks you
Yes.
off, and how to
Yes.
regulate around that. How do you
Yes.
self-regulate when something triggers you? Because
Yes.
that's what makes you tick and ticks you off. It's in what direction is it ticking you? Is it
Yes.
ticking you in a positive or a negative? And what is
That's
it
right.
triggering you to do? What response is it triggering you to do? And how do you regulate that?
Yes.
And it's knowing yourself. You got to take the time to know yourself. And
Yes.
so we have one more question because we are out of time. But I want to get that question. But you guys got to come back. You
Okay.
got to come back because you are speaking language I want to learn, for one. And then two, you're speaking language that we really need to hear. We really need to hear that we are not from Venus and Mars. We can communicate. We can communicate and we can make this thing work. I think the devil is a liar to try to keep us divided because he knows when we come together that it is an absolutely stunning and beautiful thing when a couple can just really love each other, support one another. One can be in the spotlight while the other's in the back, and there's no jealousy or envy. The other one can now take center stage. They can be in the front, the other one's in the back, and you can switch places. You could be in the front together. That's what a beautiful couple is all about. When they can do that in a way where it is supportive, healthy, well balanced, and promoted, that you can both shine together. So if they wanted to work with you today, if anyone in the audience wants to work with you today, what's the best way to get started?
Yeah. Mia Moore, you want to take that?
Yes. We just come to have a clarity call and we're going to be there together and video call with you and talk to them and whatever are their questions or their thoughts or whatever they can share with us. And we're going to be here to listen you because we are here to help. We are here to listen. So we want to share where we have with the world. That is it. Yes.
This is
So
awesome.
so what's really cool is it is like Aleda said, a clarity call, but prior to the clarity call, there's a discovery call, and in the discovery call, it literally is just listening. There's no pitch. Is just listen. Let's listen to understand. Once you have the discovery call for 15 minutes, we'll then talk over in terms of like what are the specific needs, how long it would take, and then the follow-up conversation, the 30-minute conversation, would be the clarifying exactly what other questions do you have and what would be our best recommendation based off of our previous conversation. So it's really about making sure that it is a personalized, customized experience because of the nuances in every person's individual mindset and experience, and then also collectively what does that look like? And so this is not your typical, and also because the fact that Aleda and I actually co-coach certain sessions, so we meet individually with you and we also meet with you together, and there's a sweet dance between the four of us in different formations.
All right, all right, all right. This has been just completely incredible. I loved it. Yolanda, Easter, thank you for chiming in. They left some comments there. Really great topic. This has just been so incredible. I mean, I have well, Shay and we were going back and forth. I think it was like last Saturday, like going back and forth. I'm like, oh God, I got to get this project done. And we are just going back and forth and hitting it off because like-mindedness, we want to see people healed. We want to see them in loving, nurturing relationships and maximizing their joint potential as well as their individual potential. And that has to happen. I always say when you coach someone, you can't coach them in their career and their business and not in their life. And one of the biggest things in life is about the love relationship. It is the most important relationship because it should be happening before the kids, but it's the most critical relationship because when you and your partner are at odds, sometimes it's paralyzing, it's crippling.
Yes.
You can't even pick up the phone. You don't want to come to the job. You don't want to do anything. You just go into a slump.
Yeah.
So how can I coach you in your career and not even tap on anything that's going on in your personal life? I need to make sure that you know how to handle any challenges that come in your life so that you can still keep your eye on the prize. So
Yes.
this is a critical. What you guys
Yes.
are doing is critical, and I love. You already know. Love your approach. I mean, it is amazing, amazing.
Thank
And
you.
so, any closing remarks that you want to say to our audience?
Yeah, Mimor, do you want to have any final thoughts for the audience?
Yes, I just want to say we are here to help. We are here because we are in our higher selves and we want to spread the news and like the light with everyone, and we are not here to fix because nobody's broken, but we want to keep light around. Yes.
Oh, nice. I like that. I like that.
I love that too. Yeah, so I think for me, it's an issue of opposites do attract, and later on, opposites attack. And so, why it's super important to understand those differences so those speed bumps are removed, so we can move on to those greater things that God, the universe, has called us to do.
Oh my God, so good, so good. So this has been Shay and Aleda, and this has been Sweetheart. Before I say I do, ladies and gentlemen, have an amazing evening. Enjoy your weekend. We love you. We are out.